Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls, coming to you from the West Coast. Today I wanted to share a card that I made using an ink blending technique for the background and then a layering die set for the focal point. This is for my Altenew certification program, educator certification program, the ink blending class. So it's basic ink blending, and it's basically just creating that nice ombre effect. And then I used the darker color to create a bit of a vignette to really draw your eye into those beautiful gladiolus. So let me show you how it's made. Okay, I'm going to start by making my flowers, and these flowers are the Altenew Gladiolus layering die set. It's the keyhole system, which I happen to love because it just makes it so easy. They've got directions, but you basically just follow along with the shape of the hole. So I've got them all cut and laid out, and I'm just going to put them together. We're going to start with this flower. And this, you can see the shape here. So you just really just layer them together, matching up the shape. Now I cut these out of a yellow Centura Pearl cardstock, and then did a little bit of inking with some orange ink. And I'm going to shape them a little bit, but not too much, because I don't want them too 3D. Okay, so there's my first flower, and I'm just going to create the rest of my flowers in exactly the same way. Okay, so there's my flowers and stalks, and I'm going to set those to the one side to dry while I work on my background. Now here's where I get into my ink blending. I've got a piece, this is watercolor card. It's 4 3/4 by 6 1/4 because my card blank is 5 by 6 1/2, and I wanted it just slightly smaller. And I'm just going to do a nice ombre ink blending in a contrasting color, and I think I'm going to use some blues. And I just want a very soft, so I'm going to use an iceberg and probably an eastern sky. I might put a little bit of ultramarine at the bottom. But I'm going to start with a light at the top and work down, or, you know, it doesn't matter, but my lightest color is going to go at the top. I'm going to start with iceberg. I've just got a small ink blending tool, and we're just going to I just want a soft blend, because you can build up the ink, but you can't take it away once it's on it. Well, you can, but it's not easy to take it away. So I'm just going to start with a nice soft blend. And I'm not pushing hard, I'm just letting it glide across the paper. And I'm going to get just a little over 1/3 of the way because I want them to overlap. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my eastern sky, which is my next color in that color family. And again, just overlapping with the iceberg, but very softly blending. So I'm just when I start out, I'm just barely touching the paper, and then I get a little bit more pressure as some of the ink comes off. You can see that this is just a little bit darker. And I like, see how it's not like a solid blue? I don't want it solid blue. I want that little bit of white showing through. Now you could put more ink on it and have a solid, you know, color, but I actually like the looks of, especially with blues, when you're kind of thinking about maybe looking like a sky, I kind of like having some of that white show through, because I think it looks a little bit more like, I don't know, like clouds or something. I'm going to come back in with a little bit of light color and just blend across that line. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to come in with my ultramarine across the bottom. And you can see that that's definitely a darker blue. Now I'm liking that a lot, but what I think I am going to do is I'm going to come around with my dark blue all the way around the edges to kind of give it a little bit of a vignette to frame those florals. So even though it's more lighter in the center, I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of a dark frame around it, especially because it's going to go on a white card blank. And this is going to make that just pop right off that card blank. And you can pick up some of the ink that's on this. I'm blending on a glass mat or a craft. If you had a craft mat, that would work too. But see how it's a good it's a nice ombre effect with your blues, but I got that dark blue around the edges all the way around, and I think that just kind of sets that off really nicely. Now I'm going to put my florals on there, and I always dry fit my florals. By that I mean I put them on without any glue first, just to see where I want them, and then I'll go back and glue them down. I'm going to put these leaves and these down flat, and then I'm going to put these up on some with some 3D glue gel or some foam. So let's get these on there first. Now, if you've ever watched my channel, you know I love my Kalal 3D glue gel. And I haven't refilled my syringe, so I'm just going to use it this way. And we're just going to put a big glob on the back of each flower. I do this because it gives you some dimension, but you can also move them around if you don't like where they are to begin with. Okay, and then I'm going to put it's a little off center because I'm going to put my sentiment right there. And then I've got my card blank, and I've got actually a little piece of foam with, it's got adhesive on one side, and I'm going to put that on the back of my card blank to raise it up off there. And it's just got it's adhesive on one side, not on both. But I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card blank. And then I'm going to put some glue on there. This is an alternative to using foam tape. And if you buy just the craft foam without the adhesive on it, it's super cheap, and it's and you can raise up your entire card blank or card base like this, your card front, without using a ton of foam tape. And it gives you just a little bit of height, and you can buy it in different thicknesses, so it works really well. And there we go, all done. Absolutely love that. So thanks for watching.